What's up, guys? Wanted to put a video together to talk about how I was able to lose 30 pounds in 8 weeks, and I'm 47 years old. I'm almost 48. So where I started out, I was the heaviest I've ever been, as far as I remember, 201 pounds. I'm 47. I'm 5'4". So 201 pounds is really heavy for a guy my size. I know because of experience that, you know, I'm healthiest about at 160. You know, back in the day, probably in my early 30s, late 20s, I was actually hitting the gym, and I went about a good 2, 3, 4 years where I ate the same foods every day. I went to the gym on a schedule. I was that guy eating tuna fish, you know, at work. That was kind of what I got known for. But I shed a bunch of fat and I kept it off, and I actually got a lot of muscle built by just pounding protein and just eating what I was supposed to eat. So I've been down this road before, but through the course of life, you know, kids get older, you know, life changes. It gets harder and harder, especially once you start making those lifestyle habits. You compromise those. You know, missing the gym for a day turns into 2, turns into a week. Before you know it, you're trying to figure out how long it's been since you've been back. You know, and that's me. I packed on a lot of weight, and I've gone through, you know, series in my life where I've tried to do the diet thing, and I could never crack 190. You know, I would lose a little bit of weight, I would get some momentum. You know, I would cheerlead for myself and my wife and my family and be like, oh, good job. You know, but I wasn't giving it 100%. I knew that. In the back of my head, you know, it was a grind to go to the gym, and I wasn't into it. I never bought into it. So what changed? Going and looking at pictures of myself, and you know, I've been blessed to be able to spend a lot of time with my kids now that they're older. You know, I wish I could spend more time with them, but what time I do spend, you know, is very valuable to me. And you know, it's been in my head where I'm like, I'm not happy with myself when I'm in these pictures. But it means so much to me to be able to take pictures with them when I'm with my kids and with my grandkids, with my family. You know, I want these memories. I want to be able to look back on this. But when I look at myself and I smile and I have all this fat on my face, it's just disgusting. You know, I'm disgusted in myself. And it's an endless cycle, because that turns into depression, which turns into eating. And for me, you know, I consume all my calories in food, you know, massive amounts of junk food, and pretty much anything and everything that tastes good, I game on and I'll eat it. That's where I've been. You know, I don't drink a whole lot of alcohol, you know, once every great while. I don't drink soda. My calories are all from food and just Starbucks coffee and donuts. So what's a typical day look like for me prior to this? Probably a lot like other people. You know, I see these people when I would go to the store. I'd grab donuts for breakfast, energy drinks for breakfast. Lunch would be just about anything that wasn't healthy, you know, whether it was fast food or just filling my gut with more of the same, anything that tastes good, sugar, candy, until I became this massive bloated mess. And just really starting to worry about my health, my long-term health. Like I said, I'm almost 48. You know, stroke, heart attack, cholesterol, all these things that are knocking on the door if I keep doing what I'm doing, diabetes. That really starts to worry me in the back of my head, because I know it's not that far off if I keep doing what I'm doing. So I made a decision that I was going to do this. I was going to get down to 160 pounds, even if it meant I would stop eating. I would break 190, and then from there I would keep going down. So my plan, and it still is my plan was, okay, I'm at 200 pounds, 201 pounds. I'm going to get down to 170, even if it means I have to stop eating food. Like, I will get to 170, and I need to do it as fast as possible so that I can get that win and I can get that under my belt, and I don't stretch this out because I know it's going to suck. That was my thought process, because I know myself, and it's all or nothing for me. My mind, the way I'm set up, it's all or nothing. So if I go nothing, I can stay on that track until I get to my goal, or I break. Because if I break, the floodgates open. I'm eating garbage again. I didn't want that to happen. So I literally stopped eating food. I would fast. So what I did is, I would get up in the morning. I wouldn't eat. I would go to work. I would come home for lunch, which would be around noon. I would eat protein or with a vegetable, or just protein, and try to get protein in my stomach. I wouldn't eat rice. I wouldn't eat bread. I wouldn't eat carbs of any kind other than what a vegetable would have. Then I would get home about 5 o'clock, and I would suit up and go straight to the gym. I use the gym here at our HOA community. So it's got basic stuff. It's got free weights up to 70 pounds. It's got some machines. It's got cardio equipment, and that's, in reality, that's all I needed, and it's still all I need right now as far as where I'm at. So my plan was, look, I need to do cardio. I need to burn calories. So what I did is I would go into the gym. I found that if I wore a hoodie, I would be very uncomfortable. So I would wear just a t-shirt and some sweats. So I'm comfortable. I would start sweating. I would be comfortable. I would put the treadmill on a fat burn setting. I would put it at 60 minutes. I would put it at a pace of 2.5, hit go, and I'm on it for an hour. And I was walking. I didn't do any running. I'm just walking. I know I'm not consuming enough calories to be able to run and expend that kind of energy. I just need to keep burning calories and keep moving, is my thought process. I would do that, and I would start sweating. 20 minutes into it, I would start sweating. And the key for me was making sure that I had a distraction. I needed to have something set up where I would have my phone. I would have a YouTube video going. Obviously, I wasn't running or anything, so I was able to scroll through my phone if that's what was catching my attention. Anything that would keep me occupied, to where when I did look at the time, 10 minutes had gone by, 20 minutes had gone by. That helped me tremendously, because if I wasn't able to zone out like that, and I didn't cover the timer with my phone, man, it just drug on, which made it just a mental grind. So I figured that out, and that's still what I do. I would do an hour of cardio. After that hour, I would go do a weight session. Now this weightlifting session was only to try to fire my muscles, so I'm using them. I was by no means consuming enough calories to be able to build any muscle. I was just trying to preserve as much as I could, and I knew if I could throw some weightlifting into this, I would be able to tone the muscle, hopefully try to keep some of the muscle. But I was willing to sacrifice losing muscle so that I could lose the fat, because I knew if I didn't lose the fat, this wasn't going to work for me, and I would continue to be heavy. Mondays I will do, what I did do was Mondays I would do chest. So after I got done with the cardio session, I'm spent. I would jump on the chest machine, the chest press machine, and I would rep out about 15 to 20 reps. Nothing heavy, nothing too light, but I was I really didn't need to warm up because it wasn't a lot of weight. I just wanted to be able to get 15 to 20 reps out. And I would do about 2 or 3 sets of those. And I would usually stop with one exercise per muscle. As I progressed a little bit and I got used to it, I would throw in maybe a second, maybe a flat. I would do the machine press and then maybe go do a couple flies. But these are high reps. I'm not building any muscle, and I know that. I'm just trying to use it. So Mondays was chest. Tuesdays I do arms, which is their bis and tris. Same thing. I do some cable curls. I would do some press downs, and that was it. 15, 20 reps, 3 sets, and just feel the muscle burning a little bit, but by no means it wasn't a weightlifting session. It was just preserving the muscle as much as I could, use the muscle as much as I can. Wednesdays, legs, same thing. Leg extensions, maybe a couple presses with the leg press, some calf raises. That's it. Because really my legs were getting a pretty good workout with the incline that was with the machine. So my calves and stuff I could feel that. Thursday was shoulders and abs. So I would do same thing, do some shoulder press on the machine and abs. Now I started doing more and more abs as I started to lose weight, because once I started seeing the scale drop and I started feeling differently, now I really started to focus on, things are starting to happen. So that gave me another layer of motivation, and I jumped on my abs and started doing abs a couple times a week. And then the last day of the workout was back. So same thing, I would do some rows, I would do some pull downs. That's it, and I'm done. But and keep in mind, I'd only really eaten lunch at this point, so I was probably less than 500 calories on the day at that point. Sometimes, one thing I did notice is that the first week completely sucked. I felt terrible. I felt hungry. I felt miserable. But after the first week, what I believe is happening, after doing a little bit of research, is that my body slips into ketosis and starts burning the fat for energy. And after that, I felt fine. I had energy. I was tired. By the end of the day, I was zapped. Especially after doing a little bit of weightlifting after the cardio. It was pretty difficult. And I knew I didn't want to push the weightlifting because I didn't want to get hurt, and I wasn't consuming enough calories, and it wasn't my priority. My priority was losing fat. I took weekly photos. So every week, generally on Sunday morning, I would weigh in. I would take my weight officially Sunday mornings after I'd used the bathroom and hadn't consumed any water or anything. That's when I would weigh in, and I would keep that schedule and kind of base that as progress for each week. Now, I'd jump on the scale throughout the week just to kind of get a sanity check on how I was feeling and if it translated to anything on the scale. But my official week to week was on Sunday mornings. My pictures as well. Now, I started to lose weight very quickly. I went from 201 in the first week. I think I was at 195. So I was like, okay, it's working. It's probably water weight. I was still very bloated, very just everything, pressure in my stomach and my gut, just nasty. Second week, I cracked into 190. I got down to 190 pretty quick, and breaking 190 was a massive win for me mentally. It just gave me a massive win because I hadn't cracked 190 in years, maybe decades. So I hit that 190 mark, went down to 189, and game on. Okay, 185 is now my goal. Boom, I hit 185, 180. Boom, couple weeks in after that, I hit 180. So the weight's just coming off, and it doesn't necessarily translate to just fat loss, but my stomach and the bloating that I had in my gut, 2 weeks, it was a completely different feeling. You know, I was still obviously fat. I still had a lot of weight that I had to get rid of, but that massive amount of inflammation that was around my stomach really started to come down, and changes started happening internally. I could feel just things changing as far as my digestion and how food was passing through my body by what I was putting in it. I was drinking a gallon of water a day, half a gallon to a gallon, but I really just carry around a water jug, fill it up, and I still do. It's just like it goes with me everywhere I go. Try to drink at least a half a gallon to a gallon of water every day. So fast forward, I hit 170 pounds. So phase one, my goal was to go down to 170. Phase one, I hit that goal about 3 weeks ago. About 2 weeks ago. That's where the pictures came, where I could finally see my abs. My clothes are fitting differently. Anything in my closet I can wear now. Whereas prior, there's only a sliver of clothes in my closet that I would even wear out of the house and feel comfortable in, and they're all baggy. They're all hoodies and sweatpants and stuff. And I had a pile of clothes that I hadn't touched in years and thought about donating. I can fit into all of it now. You know, my waist is around, my pants I'm wearing right now are 34, and they're too big. So I'm thinking I'm probably in a 30, 32 but right now. So the next phase. So now I'm in the next phase, currently in the next phase right now. As you watch this video, you know, depending on what the timeline, I have a 3-step process I'm working on here. Step one's done. I hit 170 at all costs. Get down to 170. That was my plan, as fast as I could. And I got down to 170 in 8 weeks. And keep in mind, that was also including Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then New Year's rolled in, which is after I hit 170. But, you know, I didn't eat much you know, it was hard. I had about the only time I had a cheat meal, I would consider a cheat meal, was Thanksgiving. I had a piece of pie. Other than that, I had all turkey. I had all protein. And I really struggled getting enough protein. I know I lost muscle because just my caloric intake was so low. I really relied on a lot of protein shakes. And speaking of protein, one thing that I did find, and maybe it's my age, I don't know, just standard whey protein concentrate destroys my stomach. I cannot handle it. I ended up having to buy isolate and hydrolyzed protein. And yeah, it's more expensive, but man, I don't bloat. I don't have any issues with that. And generally they taste great too. So it's more expensive, but you know, for me, it's money well spent. You know, it's a staple in my diet right now with the protein. So phase two is 170 pounds. So 170, I will increase my caloric intake to closer to about 1800, which is still going to be low, but I want to slowly diet down to 160. And flip the script on what I've been doing in the gym. Now, what I've been doing in the gym is, like I said, I go into the gym, I hit the cardio right off the bat, an hour straight, and then touch the weights for maybe 20 minutes. Now what I've been doing is I go into the gym, I go straight to the weights, and I have a full workout routine. You know, I do 3 sets of most exercises, and I have, you know, I do 10 to 15 reps, 8 to 10 reps, depending on the exercise, 3 or 4 exercises per muscle. It's still the same setup, so I'll break it down like that because that's just how I've always done it, and that's what works for me as far as the schedule. And then I do a half an hour of cardio after I lift weights. Now, one thing I have found, and this is true as well when I first started, is that lifting weights for me, and I'm sure this is the same with most people, makes my appetite go through the roof, which is another reason that I probably could never crack 190, is because I've always done what everybody said you should do. Go and lift weights, and make lifting weights your priority, and you'll burn more calories because you can leave the gym and your body's burning calories. Well, for me, it just makes me massively hungry. I mean, my body's broken. I need to repair it. Um, so by doing less weights, more cardio, while in a caloric deficit, worked great for me. Now I find that I have no problem hitting 1,800 calories. I have to be careful not to go over, so I track what I eat. I track my macros. I'm shooting for about 180 grams of protein every day, about 90 grams of carbs, and about 60 grams of fat. And I really don't have a problem hitting that. I got to watch the carbs because I can go over. So I time my carb intake right now. I try to do a pre-workout meal. So that's another thing that I've added to my routine is the way that I eat. So I'll wake up, I'm hungry because I have had a couple weeks of steady progress in the gym as far as lifting weights, and I'm starting to see that my body's starting to fill out a little bit more as far as the muscle and the density, which is good because I did lose a lot of muscle. I know that. And I didn't want to lose enough to where it started to look like something's wrong with me, like it looks sick. So what I do now, wake up, I'll eat eggs. I got egg whites. I'll throw an egg or two in there, a whole egg whites, pound that. Generally won't have carbs in the morning. If I do, it might be like some toast, whole grain toast. But I find that I really don't need them in the morning. Because later on for lunch, I will generally have a little bit of rice, and then I will have, so I go to the gym about 5:30 p.m. So what I find that works best for me, as far as maintaining energy and feeling good in the gym and feeling good after the gym, so I'm not completely exhausted and tanked, is about 2 hours before I go to the gym, I will have 2 rice cakes. With a banana on top of that, with some honey, and I did have put peanut butter on there for a while, but I find that the peanut butter digests pretty slow, and it kind of just makes me feel full in the gym, like food in my stomach. So now I put on, I'll go between Greek yogurt spread on there or cottage cheese, and get that extra protein in there. And yeah, I'll hit the gym. Even if I'm not really motivated because it's been a long day, I have the energy to get through those workouts. And progressively, week after week, workout after workout, I'm doing more as far as weight or reps or just the strength that I have. So I'm on the right track. Like I said, my goal now is to continue building the muscle. Which isn't going to build a lot because obviously I'm still in a caloric deficit. 1,800 calories for me, I should probably be closer to 2,200, 2,500 to maintain or even build. But I don't want to, I'm not interested in that. I am very happy that my shirts fit the way they do. My stomach isn't poking out everywhere. If my arms and chest start to fill up the shirt a little bit more, great. I love it. I'll take it. I am so happy, and it's such a confidence boost that I can actually see my abs, which I haven't been able to see my abs since I was probably in high school. I mean, it's been so long. So these are all big wins for me. I'm not trying to get hurt in the gym. I'm not trying to lift everything in the gym. I'm too old for all that. I don't want to get hurt. I can feel my tendons and everything, so there are exercises that I used to do that I can't do anymore. They just don't feel comfortable. And I'm not trying to show off anymore. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to look good, feel good, put in the work. So that's where I'm at right now. I diet down, get to 160, reevaluate how I look, how I feel. Maybe I got some areas that don't look so good. Maybe I should go down lower than that. Who knows? But I'm pretty confident when I get down there, that's when I hit the maintenance phase. So I'll start sticking with what works, maybe even a little bit to err on the side of putting on a little more muscle. And really what it is it's the lifestyle. It's not a diet anymore. It's not it's not a phase. Everybody around me knows that I don't eat these foods anymore, and I don't. Especially my immediate family, I have to remember that this is my journey. This isn't theirs. I'm gotta be careful not to be critical of what they're eating. You know, this is my journey. This is my choice. You know, I have no right to be telling them what they can and can't eat just because, you know, what I'm doing to myself, and limiting my choices. That's fine. And I had to learn that the hard way. And there's some reminders of that when I kind of snap off to my family that I'm not going to eat that. I can't eat that when they had spent a lot of time on a meal, or you know, they got the munchies. They want to take. They want to indulge in some things, and I make comments about that. I can't do that. I need to stop doing that, and I've made a conscious effort to stop doing that and remind myself that, you know, I had to do what I had to do because of the poor decisions I made. That it's not their fault. They can still enjoy life, and I can too. But right now I'm in the rebuilding phase. You know, I'm sure when I'll get to the point soon where I'll give myself a cheat meal, and I've done a few. You know, I've had spaghetti here and there, and listen to my body, watch my body, my mind, how I feel, my mental conversations that I have with myself. If they stay positive, if I feel like I'm on the right track, we do more of that. If at any point I feel like, oh, you're slipping and sliding, you're off track, I'm cutting that off right away. And I'm back to what works, get my mind right. So in the comments, if you guys have any questions about anything, I know I kind of went all over the place, but I just wanted to have a raw video, talking to somebody, maybe somebody out there that's going through something, that doesn't know where to start. I mean, there's a ton of videos on YouTube, and they'll give you a ton of information on how to do everything that you want to do. But for me, you know, I don't want to be in that mix. This is just me talking to whoever needs it, wants to listen to it. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. I'll make some videos as I update. If there's anything you want to see, or a video about anything in particular that you're interested in, or how I did certain things, or how I'm doing certain things, by all means, throw it up in the comments. I'd be happy to answer your questions or put another video together. And that's it. That's where we're at. So, like I said, my shirts are fitting better. My confidence is through the roof. You know, and it bleeds off into everything else that I do. You know, everything else that I do, I go to work, I think about things differently. I carry myself differently. You know, at home, out when we're out and about, you know, I feel better. I feel different about myself. And I represent my family now. And there's, man, I mean, you can't put a price on that. And it's not hard. That's the whole thing. It's not hard. Like, I haven't done anything that is particularly hard. Like, I didn't eat a whole bunch of food for a couple weeks, couple months. You know, I held myself accountable to go to the gym and walk on the treadmill. You know, I'm not out there doing anything that's busting my ass. It's just small, consistent steps every single day. Stick with the program, and you get the results. I mean, that's all it is. But there's so much information, it can make your mind get so warped on what's right, what's wrong, what am I supposed to eat, how am I supposed to eat, what do I weigh it, do I not, running, no, you're not supposed to run, you're supposed to walk, oh, you're not supposed to walk, you're supposed to run. Pretty soon you're like, I don't even know where to start. So I know how it is. That's where I've been. I get caught up in that even still, because I'm constantly learning. I'm learning about myself. I'm learning about how things make me feel. I'm learning about what I like. I'm learning about what I don't like. On top of my age, you know, I'm almost 48, I'll be 48 this year. I'm not the same person that I was in my younger days, and my body doesn't react the same way. And I need to be aware of that. I need to educate myself on that. And, you know, as I learn, I'll put this up here for you guys as well. So like I said, questions, comments, let me know. Hopefully this reaches somebody that needs it, and you know that it is not something that's impossible. It's absolutely something that can be done. Like, if I can do it, man, anybody can do this. Anybody can lose the weight. And I did it in 8 weeks. You know, I'm on about week 10 now. I'm still at about 170, that's the plan. I gave myself a threshold. If I go over 170, I'm back in the lab, and I'm cutting out the carbs, and I'm cutting out the mess, and I'm going back on the treadmill. Because I got to give myself a line in the sand, and that's what it is for me. 170 max. As I get down to 160, then we'll reevaluate. So, everybody have a good day. Thanks for watching.